65 years of history have brought us to this point. Camps Drift in Pietermaritzburg is a hive of activity as paddlers from around the country and indeed from around the world converge for registration day ahead of the start of the 2017 FNB Dusi Canoe Marathon. FNB, true to form as they showed last year, adding such value and added comfort and luxury to the paddlers, not just here to Camps Drift, but they're going to add this to the paddlers and their seconds experience in the valley as well on day 1, day 2 and day 3. For a lot of the paddlers, this is an annual pilgrimage without which their year wouldn't start properly. But for a lot of the elite paddlers, this is a very prestigious title and it's something they focus on and train through the heat of the summer and something that they place a huge priority on. So, heading into a race which many people are describing as the most uncertain with the most variables and harking back to the days of the 80s when everybody had to beat the variables and the great Dusi King Graham Pope Ellis, just how are the elite stars feeling ahead of the start of day 1?
Flip, I agree. It is going to be a tight race. I'm really looking forward to just racing and experiencing the atmosphere tomorrow. Day 1 is always quite a nervous start, but as soon as you go through town, you soak it all up and get into the action of racing, and try and feel your body out and see how fast you can go.
So many unknowns, so many variables. It makes it old school. How do you react to that?
Yeah, I think it's something that I've really enjoyed the last week or so, to find out that there are a lot more unknowns coming to this year's Dusi, especially with the recent rain and the drought we've had before, which I think is exciting. We all want to have a race that is slightly different, and the Dusi's always that. It's never the same 2 years in a row.
Sponel, I know you want to win this K1 title. You're hungry, aren't you?
Yeah, no, definitely I'm very hungry. I've been trying for so many years. I was so close on 2013, so I'm back again this year to give it a shot.
Have you put 2013 completely to the back of your mind?
No, not yet. I haven't put. I've been trying for so many years, but it doesn't go away.
This is also going to be really tight because I see the three of you at least being together for most of this race.
Yeah, no, definitely. It looks like this Tuesday is going to be a close one because the guys are looking very, very strong. We did some pre-Tuesday races and we saw that the guys, they were very strong. Like the last race that we did together with the guys, came back to Dusi Bridge, we all finished together by the finish.
Now, I know your running is ridiculously good, but you've been working hard on your paddling, haven't you?
Yes, I've been shifting my training program since last year. I've been putting more work on paddling because we all know that we're paddling with the most of the best world in the champs, guys like Hank McGregor and Andy Becker. So I did have to put something more on my paddling than my running.
What brought you back to a Dusi? Because I know you're being selective about what you race.
You know what? There's something about this Dusi. I think it's part of our culture as a paddler from South Africa. You know, it's just, you know, it's like almost like the comrades marathons of running. It's equivalent in the paddling circle for us. You know, so it's a great event, and I think everyone that's not on the start line is wishing that they're at the last minute they should have entered. And regardless if it's going to be a lot of running or not, it's just a great event to be part of.
Lots of unknowns this year. How does that make you feel?
You know, I think in one way it mixed it up a little bit. You know. When we always had guaranteed water or X amount, you know, it's sort of like predicted of who was going to win it and who was really going to be on the podium. But I mean, now with the Hassen blocks and stuff like that, and the release of water being up and down, you know, you could be winning, and all of a sudden there's a Hassen block in front of you, and you've gone past where you could have taken out, and now all of a sudden you've lost a minute, and so it's, you know, it mixes it up a lot. So there's no guarantees until you cross the finish line at Blue Lagoon who's going to actually be the champion.
To win this race, you're going to have to run at least as well as two other remarkable runners of the boat, and I know you've been working on that.
Look, I've tried my best to work on my running, but to be honest, deep down, I'm not in contention to win it, but I just don't want to make the winners look too good at the end of the day. So, you know, I'm going to try and run my best. On the paddling side of things, I think I can hold my own, but you know, you can't catch a ride or a wave or a diamond when on the run and the portage, and I mean, guys just don't understand how fast some of these people can actually run. Some of these guys are just unbelievable with a boat on their shoulder. It's completely different to running without a boat, but running with a boat over an obstacle course like this, these guys are phenomenal. So for me to be up there, it'll be a bonus.
Abby, you've done all the homework. How's the mind going into day 1?
Sure, I think I've been so busy these last few days, haven't really put too much thought into it. So this afternoon now I'll try and compose my thoughts and, you know, get a system and plan in place. But yeah, I'm fairly confident, done all the hard work. So now it's just to have a consistent race and a methodical sort of go through each step at a time.
I guess that's the recipe if there's so many variables, because there are way more variables than we've become accustomed to in recent years.
Yeah, I think we're all going to be faced with a few little challenges here and there, so I think we just have to take them in our stride and keep a cool head and make the best decision when we get to those certain points.
You get the feeling that success is going to depend on the ability to adapt?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I mean, we can't ever plan what the Dusi is going to be like. There could be a sort of hyacinth block around the corner. So I think, it's just how you face that little challenge and overcome it.
What's your head space going into this race, given the unknowns and given the nature of the girls' race?
Well, it's strangely relaxed actually. I think because I've gone through the race days in my head and what the options are and what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to change my mind on the day according to what someone else does. It's what I've decided to do and according to what my seconds will advise me to do and where I'm lying in the race. So I think a race like the Dusi, you'll be nervous on the start line, but there's so many options to take, and for me maybe a paddle option would be better than a run option, for example, rather than the run instead of the paddle. So I'm excited that there are so many options, but it's definitely not like a sprint race where you're so nervous for like the whole night before and you're nervous in the bus all the way to the start line. But maybe just because it's a completely new challenge, I'm just reveling in the new challenge that I've put myself in.
The race is far more than getting 1,100 paddlers from Pietermaritzburg to Durban. There are much bigger issues at stake, some of them environmental, some of them are logistic, and the man who keeps a tight rein on all of them and steers the overall direction that the 65-year-old race is going in is the race chairman, Cameron McKenzie. Dr. Player always used to say the river reflects what's going on in our society, and if you look at the challenges that Duct has been dealing with here over the last couple of weeks, that's very prevalent.
Oh, undoubtedly. You know, the society is sick, the river's sick. It's a thermometer of the time we live in. We're working very hard to improve that, and I think by doing that we're also indirectly improving society. I think the river's under threat because of urbanization, but that's something we have to live with, and with urbanization must come education and make people more aware of the importance of the river.
And let's not for a moment try and bob and weave around the drought issue. Day 3 from Inanda Dam, there can be no expectation that there will be water released for luxury. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, and we don't expect it. It's drought times, and the last thing we want to do is add to the drought. We look forward to the challenge of getting to Durban. The Dusi is not for sissies, and day 3 is not going to be for sissies.
This race is run by a team of experts and volunteers who do a phenomenal job and confronting challenges this year like they haven't had to deal with for many, many a year indeed. But it's 3 days, each of them distinctive, as the two rivers starting in Maritzburg on the Dusi, converging with the Umgeni, eventually head out to Blue Lagoon in Durban. Brett Orson-Smith is the man with his finger on the pulse.
Welcome to FNB Dusi 2017. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the rivers and how the dams affect the water flow in the rivers. First of all, we have Henley Dam, which is just above Pietermaritzburg. It's a defunct dam that is no longer used for any commercial purposes, so we can benefit from the full release from Henley down the Dusi River, which flows past Natal Canoe Club. So that flows all the way through Pietermaritzburg, through the famous rapids of Hole in the Wall, Tegwan Rapid, the famous Guinea Fowl Portage, all the way to the first overnight stop, which is at Dusi Bridge. On day 2, we start off at Dusi Bridge, straight over the Dusi Bridge weir, and we then paddle down through the rapids called Saddles and the portages of First Saddle and Second Saddle, all the way to the confluence with the Umgeni River. And this is where the nature of the river really changes. We are influenced by the Umgeni River system, which is obviously much bigger than the Dusi, and the big water holding area above the confluence area of Nagel Dam. From the confluence area we got the big rapids of Washing Machine and the gauging weir, and then we go underneath Marion Foley, and then we come to the big portage of day 2, which is Numeni Hill, and then over Numeni into what is commonly known as the big 3 rapids of Gumtree, Tombi and Hippo. We then paddle about 5 or 6 k's to the top of the Inanda Dam system, basically the headwaters of the Inanda Dam, which are characterized by lots of silt and lots of low water, and paddle onto Inanda Dam, where we then paddle about 12 to 14 kilometers, depending on where you calculate Inanda Dam, starting to the second overnight stop. Day 3 starts on Inanda Dam and we then go down through Tops Needles. The big question this year is how much water is there going to be in the Mngani River below Inanda Dam. We really can't answer that at this particular moment. We have had lots of rain in the Mngani catchment area, so we'll have to see what happens on Saturday morning. But you have the big rapids of Tops Needles, Umzanyati Rapid, and then the big decision of whether to go over Burma Road or not. I think in this low river we'll definitely have to go over Burma Road. And then the Burma Road put-in, the small pump house rapid portage, and then the paddle into Durban. So hopefully everybody will see us in Durban at around about 10-11 o'clock on Saturday the 18th.
Some great insight there from Brett Austin-Smith about the route of the Dusi down to Blue Lagoon. Now, I did manage to catch up with Brett a little bit later, about 18 hours before the start of this year's race, and he's got some really interesting and good news, I think, for the paddlers about the river level.
So day 1 and day 2 I think are going to be really, really exciting days. We've got a very good water flow at the moment from the rains that we've had over the last 2 or 3 days. So day 1 is going to be exciting, and that water will carry on through to day 2. We also have the water release from Henley Dam, and bearing in mind that Henley Dam is not used for any commercial purposes, and actually the Henley Dam water then flows into Inanda Dam and benefits the Durban and surrounding communities. So that's a good thing as far as the water levels at Inanda Dam are concerned, and day 1 and day 2 are going to be super exciting.
That's one of the great wonders of this event, is that it is a 3-day race, which every day is so different. So we get to the final day. What are the prospects there?
Well, day 3, at the moment, we believe the normal water flow that is currently flowing out of Inanda Dam is going to be sufficient for us to run day 3 under normal rules. So we don't have to implement any low-level rules. We do have some contingency plans in place, just in case that is not the case. But at the moment, we believe the normal flow from Inanda Dam will be sufficient to paddle to Durban under the normal rules.
How are you feeling day before?
Yeah, fine, nervous-ish. I've done, I think, 17, 18 doozies now, so I'm getting used to it.
You're still nervous?
Always, yeah.
Why?
The doozy. It's a big challenge for anyone.
And Lauren, welcome. How many have you done?
This will be my second one.
And how did the first one go?
The first one was a bit of nerves, but we really thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, we're looking forward to the second one.
What's the magic about it?
I think the adventure. Nothing's the same, and it's not just paddling, it's not just running, it's a bit of everything, and you need everything to get yourself to the finish line. And whether you come first or last, it's the adventure throughout the race.
While some paddlers are sort of putting in the last bit of shall we say, pre-race hydration at the Hansa area and the FNB lounge. This is a little bit different. What are you up to here?
I'm actually trying to get the sticky stuff off my boat from my Eurosteel stickers. They stuck it on the front deck and we're not allowed anything past the front cockpit.
Look, we can't read what it says. Is it going to make a difference to your race?
Well, you got to look good.
You do all the timing, you set them off. What's the most challenging thing for you over the next 3 days?
Challenging thing? Staying awake. No, not really. It's I love it.
And how many years have you been doing this?
We were trying to work it out, about 1983.
Wow. Okay. Well, we've spoken to people who've done multiple doozies and those who have done very few. Well, one of them sitting next to us here is doing her first doozy from that great paddling school, the feeder school, Epworth. How are you feeling ahead of it?
I'm feeling very nervous. Yeah.
What got you into paddling?
I really want to get KZN colours at my school, so I need to do doozy and come top 3 under 18 to achieve that goal.
Michael Vasey-Lyle has come to register for number?
This will be my 14th.
14 doozies, Michael. Why did you paddle your first one?
I'm a Durbanite, so it's one of those things that you sort of kind of have to tick off your list. And then once the bug bit it, I just kept going.
So it's time to bed, settle the nerves and gear yourself up for day 1 of the 2017 FNB Dusi Canoe Marathon. Remember, we're going to be bringing you On the Bank, wrapping up day 1 and day 2 and day 3, that super special edition of On the Bank, live from the banks of Blue Lagoon as we follow the reverse order leaders starting at 10:30 on Saturday. Looking forward to catching up with you then.